After the immense success of the Indie Game Culture Game Awards, it seems like it's now time to stop looking back at the incredible offerings of 2023, and now it's time to look forward to another year of indie game wonder in the form of 2024. We all know that there are plenty of indie games that are bubbling under the surface and will spring up out of nowhere to shock us next year, but I still think it would be best to take a look at the projects we do know about and showcase some incredible games that should be available to play in 12 months or less. So with that in mind, we will be looking at the best upcoming indie games of 2024 and giving you a peek behind the curtain to get you all excited for those respective releases. So let's jump on board the hype train. This is Indie Game Culture's most anticipated indie games of 2024. In at number 1 we have Hollow Knight Silksong. Right, so let's mention the big hitters so we can get to those smaller gems that will be gunning to outshine them next year. First up we have Hollow Knight Silksong, a game that aims to improve upon the staggeringly brilliant Metroidvania that Team Cherry gifted us in 2017. Only this time, we will be trading in Hollow's Nest for the land of Silk and Song, and playing as Hornet in an adventure that is sure to be beautifully dark and needlessly grueling. Truth be told, we still don't know if we will be seeing Silksong in 2024, as Team Cherry has been keeping things under wraps pretty successfully, but fans remain hopeful that we will see a concrete announcement before too long. While a lot of these games on this list earn their place because we expect something fresh and new, I feel I speak for most Hollow Knight veterans when I say that if Team Cherry can produce a game that offers more of the same with just a few little additions and tweaks, we will all be overjoyed. So fingers crossed we see this one make an appearance at a gaming showcase really soon. In at number 2 we have Hades 2 in early access. Next up on the obvious list, we have Hades 2. We have known for quite some time that Hades 2 is in the works, and while we don't know exactly when, we do know that the game will be launching in early access at some point in 2024. This will probably be a bit of a turn-off for Hades fans, as early access in the original Hades took some time before it became a worthwhile investment, but it may be a small price to pay to get a feel for what Hades 2 has to offer and how it will rework the roguelike formula that earned Hades the coveted Game of the Year award in 2020. This one will see you play as Princess of the Underworld, Melinoy, and battle to take down Kronos, the Titan of Time, in another adventure steeped in Greek mythology with just a hint of witchcraft this time to add an extra twist. With the foundations built by the original Hades being as strong as they are, it seems like this follow-up is too big to fail, so fingers crossed that that's the case. In at number 3 we have Pacific Drive. I mentioned recently that horror games are really trying to offer horror with a twist to galvanise the genre, and Pacific Drive is a new and exciting example of this. This title will see you return to the Olympic Peninsula, an evacuated area of supernatural interest, in the hope of charting the area that time forgot and uncover the secrets that the government would rather you left alone. It seems like a chilling horror adventure game with a Stranger Things sort of vibe. However, the real USP of this game is the 1980s sedan you'll be travelling in throughout this adventure. You'll have to explore this weird and wild peninsula to find scrap to kit out your vehicle, and with a bit of luck, you'll find something with supernatural powers to help you drive deeper into this surreal part of the world. It seems like a survival game that embraces new ideas to offer something completely fresh and new. I mean, how many games do you have a car as your only companion? It's one to keep on your radar for sure, so add it to your wish list soon, and we will see you in the Olympic Peninsula. In at number 4 we have the Plucky Squire. If you're looking for a game that oozes childish wonder and carefree whimsy, then the Plucky Squire is undoubtedly the game you'll want to add to your wishlist from this bunch. I was a little worried that this game would be beaten to the punch with many games using picture book visuals to try and cash in on the success of this game's initial trailer, but even with games like Born of Bread, Tinykin, and the upcoming Echoes of Plum Grove using this art style to great effect, I still think the Plucky Squire has them all beat. This game will see you play as Jot, and alongside your friends Trash and Violet, you will set off on a 2D picture book adventure with regular escapes to the 3D realm, all in the hope of restoring their picture book story's happy ending. It's an action-adventure game with a lot of interesting ideas ideas that will blend 2D and 3D seamlessly, offering plenty of playtime antics, and generally will aim to help you find the child within you for a few hours at least. It's not story time just yet, but we can turn the page sometime this year, and I'm really excited. In at number 5 we have Skate Story. In case you were wondering, of all the titles listed, this was my vote for most anticipated in 2024. That may not be a surprise, as I am reeled in by just about any game where skateboarding is involved. But I assure you, Skate Story has more to offer than all the skate simulators and arcade skaters out there today. Skate Story takes you on a quest to explore and escape the underworld in a game that offers satisfying skate mechanics combined with the promise of a truly special story. But don't get it twisted, it seems like the skating is as cathartic as it comes and will make navigating this underworld setting as chill and serene as carving through downtown LA. I have coined this one as Devolver Digital doing their best Annapurna impression, and it seems like a walking simulator with a difference. And I don't know about you, but this is really up my alley, so if it's the same for you, be sure to keep an eye out for this one in 2024. In at number 6 we have Hyper Light Breaker. I've always been a fan of top-down hack-and-slash RPGs like Supergiant's Transistor, Heart Machine's own Solar Ash, and of course Hyper Light Drifter. Well, if you're looking for something in that arena, but want it at a much grander scale, then you need to get looking at Hyper Light Breaker. This game aims to offer a procedurally generated exploration epic with infinite worlds. It allows players to explore with a new means of traversal not unlike Genshin Impact and Omno, and allows players to fight the creatures that inhabit each world with combat that feels not unlike intense gauntlet fighters like Fury. It seems like this game will be an amazing 3D evolution of the high-octane gameplay found in Hyper Light Drifter, and best of all, if you can't wait to get your hands on this one, you can play in early access right now. So if you want to support the devs and see what this is all about, you can hop in right now. In at number 7 we have Penny's Big Breakaway. Yo-yos are cool, right? Well, they used to be at some point, and we could see a real revival if Penny's Big Breakaway has anything to say about it. I have always been and always will be a champion of pure 3D platformers, and I reckon that this year's candidate to push the genre forward is Penny's Big Breakaway. This game makes use of Penny the Street Performer's yo-yo abilities to traverse the colourful world and unlock the abilities of the Cosmic String. Oh, and did I mention that your yo-yo is a sentient, supernatural companion with an appetite for destruction? I didn't? Oh, my bad. You'll need to use your yo-yo companion's abilities to stop the Emperor Penguin's army, save the world of Macaroon, and become an unlikely hero in the process. It's a game that feels like a beautiful blend of A Hat in Time and Sonic Mania, which might have something to do with the former Sonic Mania devs, game director Hunter Bridges and creative director Christian Whitehead leading the project. With that kind of pedigree in fast-paced platforming, how could this possibly go wrong? This one looks like a nailed-on mascot platformer hit, so be sure to practice your walk the dogs and rock the cradles before this yo-yo hit arrives. In at number 8 we have Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. While I was late to the party with reference to the first Citizen Sleeper, as the game was a bit of a tough nut to crack in my opinion, I eventually powered through to uncover what is easily one of the finest indie CRPGs of the modern era. Citizen Sleeper was a game that had you play as a runaway AI hell-bent on survival on a hostile and unforgiving space station known as the Eye. Your choices mattered, your resources were limited, and each day could be your last as you tried to outrun your fate. In short, it was terrific, and Citizen Sleeper Starward Vector aims to keep that momentum. The experience promises to be more of the same, a familiar TTRPG formula with key choices to be made, relationships to nurture, and enemies to avoid at all costs. However, this time you'll be playing as a new sleeper in a new system known as the Helion system. You'll have to manage your malfunctioning body, form a crew from those hiding out amongst the Starward belt, and you'll need to choose a side in a war raging across the system that will undoubtedly complicate your escape. There are so many layers to this narrative adventure, and you can choose your own path when Citizen Sleeper arrives in 2024. Wake up, Sleeper, it's almost time. In at number 9 we have Manor Lords. I cannot pretend that city builders are my thing, nor are real-time strategy games. In fact, pairing the two is an immediate turn-off for me personally. So the fact that I'm including Manor Lords on this list should serve as an ultimate endorsement, because while it's not a game for me, I can clearly see that this one has the legs to be up there with the Banner Lords, the Civilizations, and the city skylines out there. Manor Lords is what I imagine Kingdom Come Deliverance would look like had it been an RTS city builder. The game is steeped in European medieval mythology, inspired by the region of Franconia in the 14th century, and sees the player create townships and run militias to expand their territories and engage in medieval warfare. It's a game that offers staggering levels of detail and favours historical accuracy over common gamified medieval tropes, leading to a game that will appeal to history buffs and real-time strategists alike. The duality of Manor Lord and Warlord within the gameplay makes this one such a fresh and engaging experience, and what's all the more impressive is that this was made by a sole developer. This is all the more reason to check this one out and support this bewilderingly deep and nuanced project. In at number 10 we have Ete. While they may not be everyone's cup of tea, I have all the time in the world for a walking simulator that uses its narrative as a driving force to keep the player engaged, and if the game looks the part, all the better. That seems to be the formula of success that Ete has employed, as the game aims to tell a riveting story through the medium of painting. Think The Unfinished Swan, but more colour and whimsy. This game will have you explore Montreal in the summertime, painting the world around you to explore further, find interesting scenes to immortalise through art, and then you can take these stamps home to create your own unique artwork in your studio. The game is one for the cozy collective that wants to relax, stop and smell the roses, and pour hours into creating the finest portfolio of artwork the world has ever seen. Simply existing in this lovingly created world promises to be a wholesome and fulfilling time, so be sure to pick up a brush and paint to your heart's content when this finally releases in 2024. In at number 11 we have Beastieball. Speaking of games that use paint to bring the world to life, do you remember Chicory: A Colourful Tale? That was a great game, wasn't it? Well, the developers on Limited Wishes are back and aim to create a game to rival Pokemon in the form of Beastieball, a turn-based doubles RPG that draws a lot of comparisons with Pokemon. This title will have the player work tirelessly to rise through the ranks to become one of the best volleyball players that the world has ever seen. You'll have to master lively turn-based combat with a volleyball twist, and when you aren't spiking the ball over the net, you'll be able to explore an expansive open world where you'll encounter new coaches, bosses, and so much more. Again, it's basically the Pokemon formula of old, but considering how successful Cassette Beasts was at tweaking this formula, I'm expecting big things from Beastieball. Turn-based RPGs can be a little bit daunting for those who don't love that subgenre, but this seems like a very accessible one that just about anyone can enjoy. So if you are sick of the usual Pokemon formula and want to see something new, then keep your ear to the ground for this one. In at number 12 we have Still Wakes the Deep. What would you consider a perfect recipe for horror? Maybe it's a complete sense of isolation, maybe it's narrow halls, tight spaces, and an overwhelming sense of claustrophobia, or maybe it's a terrifying setting where everything is not as it seems. Well, Still Wakes the Deep is a game from the creators of Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs and Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, and it has all these ingredients for terror with a few more heaped on for good measure. This game takes place on an oil rig off the coast of Scotland in 1975. All lines of communication have been lost, and now it's up to you to survive amidst the punishing conditions of the sea and find out what is causing the complications aboard the rig. You'll need to work to keep your crewmates alive, find a means of surviving the seamlessly inexplicable events that will befall you, and somehow find a way back to land again. It's a game where the environment is your number one enemy, and all you'll have to protect you from the perils that await you is your bravery, your want to survive, and your problem-solving skills when in a crisis. For those with thalassophobia, this one may be a bridge too far, but for horror fans, this is sure to be a masterclass in world building and suspense. In at number 13 we have Baby Steps. You may remember Bennett Foddy as the sadistic developer who made us all climb a series of random in-game assets with nothing but a huge hammer to fling ourselves upward and hold on for dear life. Well, I'm sure everyone will be thrilled to hear that he and his team are back and have a new, awkward get from A to B adventure that is sure to entertain and frustrate us in equal measure. Baby Steps is a game that takes a lot of notes from the old Flash game QWOP and drags it into the modern era of gaming as you control Nate, a man-child who has never taken the time to learn to walk. So you'll need to control their limbs as they navigate ever increasingly treacherous terrain to reach your ultimate goal. It's getting over it, but less vertical and more horizontal. It's a game that takes the term walking simulator perhaps a little bit too literally and is almost guaranteed to be Twitch's favourite game when it finally launches this year. I can't imagine that I will have the patience to take this one on myself, but if you are immune to the rage that comes with games such as this, then this may be a cool one to check out this year. In at number 14 we have Earthblade. Here's a little info about me. I don't like Metroidvanias. I have often had to review them, and critically speaking I do know what separates a good one from a poor one, and I do want to love them, but even when speaking of Metroidvania royalty like Hollow Knight, Blasphemous and Dead Cells, I can't bring myself to say I like any of them. Yet despite all this, I am super excited to play Earthblade. Why? Well, it might have something to do with the fact that I adored Celeste, one of the most polished and refined 2D platformers of all time, and the team behind this platforming masterclass are essentially taking the bones of Celeste and reworking the format into a Metroidvania, which despite my hang-ups, I can absolutely get on board with. This game promises to be very similar to Celeste in terms of movement and platforming, but with the addition of combat, upgrades, an open world with lots of backtracking and probably a bunch of brutal bosses to take on. Provided the combat can match the smoothness of the platforming, this game could do what Celeste did to the 2D platformer genre and become a certified greatest of all time contender in the Metroidvania department. Only time will tell, but I am hopeful that this will be a Metroidvania that makes me reconsider my disdain for the genre. And in at number 15 we have 33 Immortals. Lastly, we have the next game from Thunder Lotus, the creators of Sundered, Spiritfarer, and Jotun. 33 Immortals is a wild departure from their last outing Spiritfarer, heading back to their hack and slash roots and offering a format that promises to be like no other. The game seems like a typical dungeon crawler hack and slash roguelike affair, not unlike Hades or Transistor. However, the wild gimmick that will set this one apart from the rest is the fact that the game is 33 player co-op. That's right, you alongside 33 other warriors can drop into raids and take on this challenge to earn eternal life and take down the god of the realm for damning you for all eternity. Until very recently, I would have written this off as a bit of a pipe dream, but with games like Karmazu and Wizard with a Gun showing how co-op campaigns can be majorly successful, I think that 33 Immortals just might pull off something tremendous. Plus, with Thunder Lotus's trademark visuals and sound design, I can't help but root for this one to succeed. It will be an Epic and Xbox exclusive, but for those able to play on those platforms, this one will absolutely be one you need to check out. So there you have it guys, 15 upcoming indies you need to keep an eye on. As you can see, there are quite a lot of things to look forward to in 2024, and this is probably only the tip of the iceberg as more games are revealed and announced over the coming weeks and months. There are some absolutely mesmerizing projects on this list that I personally cannot wait to get stuck into, but much like you guys, I'll have to wait patiently, which sucks. But at the very least, I hope that this has allowed you to add some cool projects to your wishlist for next year. And until next time, I've been Cal, this is Indie Game Culture, and I hope you join us for our next video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.